Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. This is going to be a video covering my top 10 decks for 2022. I do believe the tag I'm going to use is Top 10 Tarot 22, which was started by Lisa Papez. But anyway, I digress. This will be a video covering both tarot and oracle. So let's jump right in. So for my number 10 spot, we have the Sacred Traveler Oracle by Denise Linn. And this is a reminder that every single deck I'm going to show you is a deck that came into my collection during the year 2022. So some may be newer, some may be older, some may be indie decks or mass market. They are just new to me. And I love this for an oracle. I don't even really need the guidebook. This gives me a lot of insight. It covers a lot of ground. It's a very helpful tool because it has a wide range. And I love it. This is one of those really easy decks to come across, to use. And this is good for beginners as well. It's a good deck to pull a daily card from, as well as for larger spreads. I would recommend this deck to a lot of people. So for that reason, it makes the list. And in my number 9 spot, we do have another oracle deck here. This is actually a Kickstarter deck, so sorry, it is not a mass market. It's called the Fairy Tale Oracle. To my knowledge, the original artist does not have plans to reprint this. Maybe that will change in the future. Now, I kind of had some, expectations with this deck because it includes fairy tales from all across the world. But from what I saw on the Kickstarter page as far as phrases and captions for the card and then the fairy tale that it is from, I quickly decided I really needed this deck. And I've used it in several different readings. It's always been bang on point for me. And it's been a joy to use. And it's great because I can utilize this in any type of reading. Although, because it is fairy tales, I admit I do like using this for like inner child readings if I can. Just for that reason, because fairy tales are part of childhood. We do kind of outgrow them in a certain way. I love that card, by the way. I've definitely gotten a lot of use out of this deck, and if the artist ever does a part 2, either as a tarot deck using fairy tales, or even going deeper, getting other fairy tales that are not included with this one and making yet another oracle deck, I would probably buy it. It is fabulous to have. It's a great tool in my collection when it comes to oracles. And in 2022, I actually doubled the size of my collection. At minimum, doubled the size of my collection. And I was kind of really sorely lacking on oracle cards. So that is great that I'm able to add so many to this list. Alright, and at number 8, we have the Out of Hand Tarot. This is by Jamie Sawyer. This was a Kickstarter deck. And there's Jamie's information at the bottom. I'm not sure if she still has copies of this deck that you could buy from her still in stock, or if you're gonna have to wait for another printing. She might have some that are left. I will confess that I am not the biggest fan when it comes to modern decks. In fact, the first modern deck I was attracted to was the Lightseers Tarot. And it was the only one that I ever felt a connection with. And I loved it as soon as I bought it and was able to use it. This one, I took one look at the art on Kickstarter, and oh my god, I had to have it. I had such a big pull for this deck, even though it was modern, that it wasn't even funny. And I've had fantastic readings for people with this particular deck, even for my Soul Tribe. The fact that this is a modern theme fits right in. I have no qualms about it. For me and my collection, this serves as a reminder of, hey, where are you spending your money? Where are you not spending your money? Which is, unfortunately, a deck I avoid when I'm on Kickstarter trying to buy more decks, because I know what this deck will tell me. And yes, you may laugh at me for that, but it's fabulous. And I love some of the choices that she put for each card. Like this one, you literally see the deck in it for the Three of Swords. There's a lot of creativity in it, and the fact that I can connect with another modern deck right out of the gate, so much that I didn't think about buying it, I just bought it, and I've loved it ever since, is saying something. It's like saying that you don't like pip decks or can't use pip decks, and then you get one that, once you get it in hands, blows you away. And believe it or not, I do have a pip deck that I got in 2022. It did not make my list. It almost did, but it did not. And it kind of snuck up on me. Alright, that was the Out of Hand Tarot. And next is the Personal Power Oracle. This, unfortunately, is also another indie deck. Get my stone off of there. DigiDeWitt does this. This is not a new deck. This is not, I mean, this is the 3rd edition, which was printed in 2021. She did another Kickstarter campaign with other decks that she had made available, because she has many. And I had picked this one up because I have seen this one used all over the place, and yes, the pink is not my color scheme, but I still love it aesthetically. It doesn't bother me at all, and I see this as kind of more of an affirmation deck, although it does come with journal prompts. I mean, there's more to this than just being an affirmation deck, hence why it's called an oracle deck, but it's got a youthful vibe to it. It's very colorful, but there's some, you know, more serious cards in here, and I reach for this a lot. I actually like pairing this with the Lightseers Tarot, but I've paired it with other decks as well. I do have a tendency to want to grab this as an oracle for when I read for a younger person, but occasionally I will literally ask what I need to know for the time being, and I will pull cards from this deck for myself. And it is a fabulous tool. I kind of wish there was more cards to it, rather than the 45 cards there is. If she ever did a part 2, a continuation of this, I would buy it in a heartbeat, because I love this one. I appreciate the body diversity, the, you know, different ethnicities that you see, the topics that are covered. It is a highly valuable tool in my collection. Alright, which brings us to number 6. Admittedly, number 6 is one that I had a hard on for. This is the Tarot of Dragons. My ancestors informed me that this was going to be my fire element deck, and boy is it ever. This is a deck by Sean McKenzie. This is a newer mass market. This is a Llewellyn published deck. You've probably seen it all over the place. for 2022. It is a fabulous deck. The creator, of course, does have it to where you don't have any reversal meetings. It was created, I love this Lovers card, look at this. It was a deck created to not use in reversals. Granted, it's an RWS, so if you know the system, you can read reversals. Occasionally, I read without reversals in this deck. Sometimes I read with reversals. It depends on what my ancestors are dictating for the reading, on whether I do that or not. My strong suit with this deck, believe it or not, is dreams. I know that sounds really weird for a deck that I say is the fire element representation in my collection, but dragons, they scream power and fire and purpose, but the strong point is dreams for me. So if you have this deck, let me know what your strong suit is when it's in your hands. But I love this deck. It's a great addition to have. I'll show you this and that, Brett. I love this universe card too. Dragon's Eye. And I love the fact that there is no dragon riders. So props to Sean. She did a wonderful job with this deck, and this one is not going anywhere in my collection. Which brings us to deck number 5. Deck number 5 is actually an Oracle deck. And that is the Whispers of the Ocean Oracle by Angela Hartfield. Now, this is actually a deck that I do believe was printed in 2019, but my copy, of course, was printed in 2021. It did not enter my collection until 2022. It's a Blue Angel deck. A lot of you will be familiar with these cards as soon as you see the backings. They're oversized, they're matte, they're ocean themed, which I'm a water sign, so this is right up my alley, and it covers, once again, like the Secret Travelers deck, covers a lot of ground, and it's very colorful. I'm usually not drawn to color, but this as an ocean deck just speaks to me. It breathes life into everything. So everything I could have asked for as a water oracle is very much highlighted in this deck. I mean, I have pulls towards other decks, but I've put off on buying them. And part of that is because I got this one and I love it so much that I'm not sure they could rank just as high as this one does in my collection. I don't think it could touch the same place. And I love pairing this with my Mermaid Tarot, which I got at the end of, what was it, 2021? I love the energy of this deck. I will pair it with just about anything, but I will also use this in readings all on its own. It is capable of doing that. In fact, I do believe I did a first of the year reading for 2023, and this was the deck they called for. In fact, they called for it, my ancestors called for it for the first and the second day of the month, which I usually don't do, but it was fabulous. It was great to utilize this deck at the beginning of the year, and it's another one that is great to pull just one random card for if you need it for the day. But yes, it is huge. As you can see, I have small hands, and this deck is basically the size of my hand. So shuffling can be a little awkward, but that's okay. I don't care. I love it. And yes, my animal totem is a dolphin, and there is plenty of dolphins in this deck, as you can see. So that is another reason why I enjoy this deck so much. which brings me to deck number 4. And this, of course, is a Kickstarter deck. This is the Unfolding Path Tarot. This, believe it or not, replaced my Heaven and Earth deck as my top spiritual deck. The Heaven and Earth deck kind of, you know, had muted tones, was more, I guess, harsh. The energy felt different, whereas this, which I love the backings, I will forever love the backings on this deck, whereas this is definitely feminine energy, and it's very identifiable feminine energy. To me, this feels like mother energy, and if anybody else has this deck, feel free to agree or disagree with that statement, but to me, this feels like mother energy, not crone energy, not maiden energy. This feels like mother energy, and I love the fact that the Page of Cups is an old man. You don't normally see that in a deck, so this covers a lot of gender issues, body issues, ethnic issues. You know, it's got a lot of diversity in it, and a couple of the cards are approached in different ways. And it does have a modern feel to it, but I actually don't see this as a modern deck. But I do read it as purely mother energy, and apparently I was desperately needing that connection. And this, I love this Knight of Swords. Isn't he so cute? And this deck definitely checks that box. It's not overly harsh, but it will be stern when it needs to. So it's got that gentleness, but not that in-your-face, strict, over-the-top way, if you know what I mean. I don't know if I'm describing that all that well, but this feels comfortable to use, and I highly love that, especially for the category I'm trying to use it in, because I'm very limited when it comes to decks that have spirituality as a strong suit. I only have a small few in my entire deck collection. Hence why that one made the cut. Which brings us to number 3 in my collection, which is the Magical Dogs Tarot. Now, this is a mass market. Do you believe it 2018? Yeah, 2018. And this didn't come to me till my birthday, which I'm a fall baby. So this came to me late in 2022, and I love it. The strong suit of this deck for me is shadow work. And usually if I use this like in my daily readings on my channel, I usually warn people that this is a shadow deck, because that's 9 times out of 10 what comes out of it. And this approaches shadow work. Sorry, this deck is not in order, so don't be surprised. But this deck approaches shadow work in a different way. It's not dark. It's not morbid. It can be direct, but it's not harsh. It's more pondering, if that makes sense. I guess it approaches it in a different way that actually gets my attention enough to look at things and consider it, instead of being overly harsh or overly direct to the point that I rather would look away than pay attention to it. So this deck really works for me. And I mean, how can you resist dogs? I mean, they're animals. They're so cute and they're adorable, and this deck is very well done artistically, and I love the fact that they didn't use the same type of dogs in every card or every suit. You literally see all these different breeds, and the scenes make perfect sense. I mean, this one, the Knight of Sky, he's afraid of thunder and lightning, hiding in the cave by himself, terrified. I basically used this right out of the gate. As soon as I got it, I filmed a flip through, even if I haven't. No, I think I uploaded it. But I filmed it right away, and I started using this deck like the very next day. And I do not regret that choice at all. I love using this deck. It will be with me for a very long time. And if you have any of these decks, and if you have a different strong suit with the deck than I do, please, by all means, let me know in the comments section what those are, so I know. Alright, and the second deck on my list, and the top oracle for 2022, is an indie deck. This is by Ruin Vervain, which is created by Serafina Yeshi Mesa, the Earth, Moon, and Shadow Oracle. For those of you that missed out on this Kickstarter, this is a fabulous deck. And yes, Shadow Oracle is correct. This is a highly usable deck for shadow work, and it's designed as such. And it definitely works for me. I was so excited as soon as I did an unboxing video and got this. I basically did a flip through / deep dive and started using it right away. And it's been so enlightening and helpful. I love the backings. And very eye-opening, very connecting from the get-go, straight out of the gate. It was one of those that I really didn't have to use the guidebook too much. Every card has a header and then has 2 or 3 keywords on it, and it is beautiful. And yes, there is some color to it, but it works perfectly. I have very strong intuition and guide and purpose when things come out of this deck. There is light cards, there's dark cards. So even if you are not aiming for shadow work with this deck, you can use it for other stuff. But for an overall oracle that covers quite a few different things, I loved this deck. I love it to pieces. It will probably be one of the top decks I have for a good long while, because this oracle does what very few in my collection actually do, and that is tackle shadow work. The only other 2 I think I have in my collection that come close to this is number 1, the Lantern Oracle, which is still one of my top favorite oracles. And the next one that I probably have that does a little bit of shadow work is the Heal Yourself Oracle, which I do believe this one right here, the Earth, Moon, and Shadow, ranks higher than that one. Can I say that it beats out the Lantern Oracle when it does the Maiden, the Mother, the Crone? I can't solidly say that, but right now this one and the Lantern Oracle are definitely my top 1 and 2 spots for oracle decks in my entire collection. This is fabulous. And I do love the artwork. If I could get another type of oracle deck designed like this, or even a tarot by the same creator and artist paired up to see what they would come up with, I would definitely want to see that in a heartbeat, and I would probably buy it hands down based on this deck. All right, and our number 1 spot, which is our number 1 tarot deck for 2022, believe it or not, is an animal deck. It is the Soul Cats Tarot. This is by Lisa Robertson. I do have another one of Lisa Robertson's deck, and I did mention it previously earlier in the video, and that is the Mermaid Tarot, which is my water element deck. I love that deck to pieces, and as soon as I got this in hands, I realized that this deck feels a lot like the Mermaid Tarot. It's cat themed, but not mermaid. It does not feel like water the way the Mermaid Tarot does for me, but it does the same job. Now, what do I mean by that? The strong point of the Mermaid Tarot in my collection is not only the water element, but its manifestation. That deck will literally tell me where the energy is, where it's not, and where the energy is going. This deck has the same strong point. It is manifestation. So even though this is a completely different animal, here's the backings, it has the same vibe, the same energy, which means if I don't have access to the Mermaid Tarot, or if the Mermaid Tarot doesn't jive with something else I'm trying to use, this is another deck that I could grab that would do the same job, that would probably pair better in its place, energy-wise. And I do love this just the same way I love the Magical Dogs Tarot. I love the way the cats feel. I mean, how can you resist that? A cat knocking over a lamp for the tower. That is such a cat thing to do. And because I have such a strong connection to cats, I adore this deck. It is fabulous. I really love using this deck. In fact, this is one of the decks that I used when I did my 2023 yearly reading for myself. So 14 different placements that I had to pull cards for, and this was one of the decks I used for that. I only used like 2. And I had pretty much the entire deck on the table, and it's fabulous. And I love this Queen of Cups. It's absolutely beautiful for a Queen of Cups. It's one of my favorites, which I will probably end up doing a separate video on that. Favorite cards out of my collection. So be on the lookout for that. And I love the fact that this has the strong suit of manifestation, because that means that regardless of whether I'm doing love or career or, you know, life purpose, or if I'm doing shadow work, having decks where the strong suit is literally manifestation, that'll tell me where the energy isn't. That means no matter what category I am trying to draw from, this card deck will be helpful. It means I could reach for this deck or the Mermaid Tarot and still get something out of it. Unlike another deck that is geared towards shadow work purely as a strong point when I'm trying to do a career reading, or love or spirituality, or, you know, inner child work when I'm trying to do a love reading. This is a deck that I can highly utilize. So that's why this one ranks #1, because it is highly diverse. And like I said, the Mermaid Tarot is the only other deck in my collection that has that flexibility, that diversity. And I've chalked that up to the fact that the strong point is manifestation for the deck. That and its cats. I have a strong connection with cats, so I love that star card. I also have a other cat deck that I acquired in 2022, and that was for Christmas. That was the Mystical Cats Tarot. I have not yet used it at the time I am filming this video, which is mid-January. I'm actually kind of afraid to touch that one purely based on the fact that I connect with this one so strongly. I'm not sure that other one will tackle as much as this. We will see. I might end up doing like a side-to-side video comparing the two and how they differ at some point in the future. But anyway, there you go, folks. That is my top 10 tarot and oracle decks for 2022. I hope you enjoyed them. If you have any of these decks in your collection, let me know. What is the strong suit of the deck? How do you like it? Did you have to rehome it? A fair amount of these are indie decks. Did you see the campaigns? Did you back them? what was the reason that you did not back them? If you have these decks, do they rank in your top 10 as well? Go ahead and tag me in a VR for this. Let me see your decks too. I would be so happy if you did. I would definitely watch them because I'm interested. Do we share the same style of decks? Anyway, my lovelies, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.